Hey everyone, it's Andrew Nagel, Valk9 Designs, and we're back for part 3 of the Start to Finish Hybrid series. This is the pre-polish and stone setting for this hybrid design. Here we have the frame after it's sat in the pickle pot. The Rio pickle is an acidic mixture that removes the fire scale and any odd materials from the metal that sat in there overnight, and now I'm working on filing down the odd points on the bale and on the frame to make this a bit more smooth. I'm filing this down on the bale so that way the bale sways a bit better against the metal, and then I'm also going to be removing the edges from the clipped off portions of the frame. I'm using the number 2 files. I'm also going to be hallmarking this with the .925 stamp, and I like to do that before I get into the polish. So now that I've stamped it, I'm ready to start working on the polish. This is the silicone Dodeco abrasive wheel, and then I'm following that up with the 3M Bristle disc assortment. These are the 3/4 inch wheels. I'm starting with the 80 grit, and then I'm going to be moving through the 220 grit. This is the blue 400 grit. I'm only moving through these first 3 grits for the pre-polish. I'm going to then set the stones in this piece, and then we will continue on with the polish because there's going to be some tool marks left over from the stone setting that we need to remove. So now starting to set the Super 7 cabochon, it sets in there very nicely. I am going to open up some sections around these tube settings so that way I don't need to worry about pressing in the metal that is fused to the tube settings over the stone. So now taking my flat bezel pusher, I'm starting to push down some of the edges. I just want to run this edge along the stone to kind of get it started, but then I'm going to start working on the corners. You want to start working on the corners so you can form them and push that metal out. Then I'm going to do the left and right corners at the bottom of the stone after getting this bottom one. I'm then going to also use my other tools, my bezel pushers, and also I've got a burnishing tool that I'm going to be using to kind of burnish the sides a little bit and give it just a bit more of a finished look before we move on to the polish. As you can see, as I take that burnisher across the silver, it kind of polishes it a little bit already. That's because the burnisher is a polished tool, and as it kind of moves across the metal, it's leaving that same finish against the silver. But that's just a pre-step. We're going to be working on this again with the silicone Dodeco wheels in the next video. This is just the pre-setting. So as we push that down a little bit, we're going to be moving the metal over the stone with every brush of the burnisher and the stone setting tools that I'm using. So as you can see, the stone is not going to come out the front, but it will come out the top. That is why we're going to be adding the wire detailing and a setting point at the top with some half-round wire. That'll be in a future video for this series. I'm taking my stone setting burrs and I am drilling in the top part of the tube to form the setting for the stones. I ended up switching over to Peridot because the other stones I was going to use, the Savarite garnets, were just a little too big. Now I'm using my stone setting punch to really kind of form those over the stone. I'm also going to be using my flat burnishing tool again to push those over in various points just to make sure that the stone is set in there, and then I'm going to repolish over it again with my stone setting punch. This I will leave a Rio Grande item number for in the description. There's like 18 varying sizes. And yeah, you're just going to need to keep pushing the metal over the stone until you're comfortable with what you've got. Work with the corners and push the metal out towards the top edges so that way you don't have any awkward folds of metal on your corners. Thanks everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video. The next part will be the wire detailing. We'll do a little wire stone setting, and then we'll move on to the polishing and final oxidization of this piece. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you have a great week.